Hello, welcome back to this week's Analysis Behind the News. A little over a week ago, the leaders of all three North American countries, U.S. President Donald Trump, then Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, all met in Buenos Aires, Argentina for the G20 Globalist Economic Confab and took the opportunity to sign the newly renegotiated United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, intended to both replace the old NAFTA and further integrate the continent toward a future North American Union. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. Despite all the good rhetoric, the USMCA is in fact part of the New World Order agenda, of which its goal for a regional North American Union, much like the European Union, has been in the making for years. In fact, as I reported on Friday at the New American, during the ceremony, just prior to signing the agreement, Mexican President Peña Nieto touted how the USMCA negotiations, quote, sought to safeguard the vision of an integrated North America, as he put it in his own words, while standing right next to President Trump, who had just finished boasting how great of a deal it is for the U.S. This begs the question, has President Trump read the text of the USMCA and evaluated it for himself? Or is he simply taking the word of veteran CFR member, U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer? What the president has said about putting America first and making America great again is not adding up with what Lighthizer and company have delivered in the USMCA. In fact, Trump's rhetoric in favor of the USMCA was very different to the remarks Peña Nieto delivered in Spanish, specifically mentioning economic and North American integration 4 times. Nor is Peña Nieto the first Mexican leader to make such remarks outlining the objectives of North American integration. As I pointed out last week at the New American, former Mexican President Vicente Fox likewise called for a North American Union. During an interview with Larry King on CNN, when Fox was asked if he favored a single currency for all of the Americas like the euro, Fox replied, quote, "That would be long term. I think the process is to go first step into a trade agreement and then further on a new vision like what we're trying to do with NAFTA." That new vision, as Fox described it, is what we are seeing today in the form of the USMCA. This vision for a union of all the Americas, known at the time as the Free Trade Area of the Americas, or FTAA, which the John Birch Society led the effort to defeat, was carried on to Fox's successor, Mexican President Felipe Calderon. In 2011, The Economist reported, quote, "Felipe Calderon, Mexico's president, has espoused a vision of a North America as a union of complementary economies, with Canada providing the natural resources and Mexico the labor, that would compete with Asia." In 2009, President Calderon proposed the formation of a union of Latin America and the Caribbean, which he described would be a competitive bloc against other regional unions such as the European Union. Globalists like Calderon envision a new world order where countries are consolidated into regional or continental economic unions, competing with each other while simultaneously working towards greater global economic integration. The USMCA serves the vision of globalist Mexican presidents like Fox, Calderon, and Peña Nieto by further integrating the economies of the United States, Mexico, and Canada into one whole economy. This vision isn't contained to Mexican globalists alone. It is shared by globalists here too in the United States, whom likewise espouse the vision for a new world order. Most of these New World Order advocates belong to the Globalist Council on Foreign Relations, such as former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, former Presidents Jimmy Carter, George H.W. Bush, and Bill Clinton. And as we mentioned earlier, our chief NAFTA USMCA negotiator, Robert Lighthizer. In fact, the current president of the CFR, Richard N. Haas, has praised the USMCA, saying about it on Twitter, quote, "The USMCA looks to be the trade pact formerly known as NAFTA plus 10 to 20%. Haas later tweeted, quote, USMCA is NAFTA plus TPP plus a few tweaks. If the CFR president, Richard Haas, loves the USMCA, how could it possibly be a better deal that puts American interests ahead? And speaking of Twitter, shortly after signing the new agreement, Peña Nieto tweeted, quote, on my last day as president, I am very honored to have participated in the signing of the new trade treaty between Mexico, the United States, and Canada. This day concludes a long process of dialogue and negotiation that will consolidate the economic integration of North America. Wow, that's a stunning admission to freely state that the USMCA will, quote, consolidate the economic integration of North America. Why is the Mexican government more open with the people, with their own people that is, than the U.S. government is with regard to economic integration and regionalism? U.S. politicians hardly ever discuss or say that they're in favor of integration, but Mexico's presidents and elected officials, they speak about it openly with ease and without giving it a second thought. Take, for instance, our own Hillary Clinton. You might never hear her at a public town hall meeting or campaign rally discussing how she favors economic integration. But behind closed doors, at secret or private meetings with large financial institutions, then she'll speak about how she envisions a Western Hemisphere without any borders. What else are they not telling us with regard to American sovereignty? The John Birch Society is the only nationwide organization talking about this, and we encourage you to contact your congressmen, senators, and President Trump and bring to their attention what Mexico's leaders have been saying, especially Peña Nieto's most recent remarks and tweets. Tell Congress and the President that we want out of both NAFTA and the new USMCA. Say no to economic integration by opposing NAFTA and the USMCA. Until next week, we'll see you then.